I want to play in Europe. What the hell does that mean, right? Because Europe could be Latvia, Luxembourg.
No one's talking about Latvia or Luxembourg, dumbass.
So you don't want to just shove it in there. Start with the smaller finger, especially if this is the first time. Start with the smaller finger and go slow.
I mean, there's a lot of things that need to change.
Honey, eating ass, it is the best thing that you can do for your man.
I want people to realize I'm just human. I'm just human, and I make mistakes.
So this guy, Derek, wants to know, is putting your tongue in an ass really the thing to do?
Yeah, it feels really good.
It's a weird one, I think.
And I know you want me to toss your salad too, don't you? All right, on that note.
What are you saying, bro? You are.
Stop, bro! Stop, bro, help me, I'm stuck!
All right, welcome to Straight Red Card. We're back. Yes, I'm wearing my red hat again. And I'm wearing this fucking Barcelona shirt. I mean, isn't that weird?
Yeah.
My mom bought this for me 10 years ago. I've never worn it. Still had the tags on.
Yeah.
But I figured they beat Real Madrid, so what the hell? I'll get on board with that. At least they more consistently develop their own youth talent, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'll give Barcelona that over Real Madrid. They develop their youth talent more often. So I'm going to give it to them, and I'm going to wear this shirt for one time only. One time only. Yes, we'll get to Wrexham. Want to congratulate Wrexham for their promotion all the way up to the championship. I could almost feel it in the players watching the game as the game ended. Some of them thinking, this might be the last time I play for Wrexham. A few of them. A handful of them thinking, I'm probably not going to play much next year.
Well, I mean, yeah, the same can be said about any newly promoted team, any new division.
I think that's generally true, that you're going to get 5 to 6 new players. It really depends on how much, those two guys decide to spend. Really, it's what it comes down to.
Sure.
Can they afford a whole new overhaul? Probably not. They're probably going to get another 4 or 5 players. So
yeah, I mean, well, it begs the question of whether or not sometimes if you're a newly promoted team, especially since you've seen a promotion, back to back at this point, do you just continue to ride the chemistry train and then just add a couple of pieces in there?
Well, they tended to sign 2 to 3 more players every time they move up a league, right? So, and they started out with players that were above the league they started out in anyhow, with a few, at least a handful. And then they added a handful more, then a handful more. And they're going to add another handful for the Champions League. I mean, for the championship. There's just no doubt about it. But you can almost see it in some of the players' faces like, I'm not going to be a starter next year. But I'm happy. But maybe it was just the exhaustion of the elation of finally this is over with. But it almost looked like someone were like, well, this might be it for me. But we'll see. I think they're more likely to keep a lot of the core group together, but they're going to sign 4 guys at the very least to supplement the team going forward. Now, the question is, now you're at a level that you're going to have to compete with some other really big teams for big players or good players. Good luck. Because now you're playing with the real big boys. This ain't League One anymore. The championship teams spend money. So, also, go ahead.
If they can work their way up to mid-table with not spending the big money, then more power to them. But I mean, generally speaking, when you get promoted, you're looking at solidifying the spine of the team.
Yeah,
really?
Right.
Usually, it's goalkeeper,
center back, midfielder,
maybe a striker.
Yep.
But I mean,
winger. Yep.
Might be asking a lot there. Get all that in there.
It is.
And I don't know what the team looks like. Anyways, maybe their goalkeeper's perfectly fine, and they think he's adequate for championship level.
Oh, I think so. I think he could be adequate for it. Is he? Is he going to be out of 24 teams the 20th best goalkeeper, or is he going to be the 15th or the 7th?
There's always Horvath in the
Well, there is always Horvath. There is. There's Josh Sargent too, but more than likely Josh Sargent is heading to Leeds.
I hear Matt Turner is looking for a team, probably.
Oh, for sure. I mean, where's he going to go?
Yeah.
Horvath going down to League One. Is he going to stay, or is that just too low for him? I don't know. We'll see. Also, congratulations to Leeds. They played again today, and Aaronson went another 86 in a smashing victory, 4-0 victory. Kind of just wrap it all up. I think that might have clinched first. Might have. I'm not sure exactly mathematically if it did.
Does it matter?
It doesn't matter. Once you're auto promoted, you're just like, fuck it.
Yeah, I guess congratulations. You can go back and say, hey, we were first in championship in 2025. Whee!
Yeah. Well, we already talked about this. How big of a part is Aronson going to play next season in the Premiership? We'll see.
He doesn't have to be just a 10 for Leeds. He can play multiple positions in the attack, or just off the bench. It would be a spark plug.
Yeah, but who are the guys they already have now? He's going to take a spot at wing from. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. He's played CAM all season. Probably go out and get a guy who can do more than him. Be my guess. I mean, it's not a guarantee, but if you want to stay up at this point, if you're a promoted team, and look at the record of the promoted teams this season in the Premier League, you got to do more than a couple guys. You're going to have to go out there and sign some pretty good players.
Well, I mean, again, as much as Leeds can do at that point, all right? But
they got limitations.
Ultimately, a team like Leeds is going to need a hustle merchant. Well, like I said, whether off the bench or fill the void, but not necessarily the key creative spark.
Well, he's just not. That's because that's not what he is.
Exactly.
And I mean, you played CAM all season, and your goal contributions this season are pretty, I'd say, mediocre. Honestly, did he do a lot of work? He sure did. Should he have had an assist a day? Yeah. Should he had a goal today? Yeah. Yeah, he didn't get that done either. So that's been his problem, whether it be guys not finishing things he serves up or him missing opportunities. And he seems to always finish the ones off that are the weirdest. You're like, he just happens to be there and he pokes them in. You need that kind of guy too, but you need it more than 7 times a season, right? So we'll see. Leeds was so shitty, says Johnny. Leeds were so shitty last time they were in the Premier League, for sure. They were.
Yeah. He was talking about the time they were in the EPL.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough. Wasn't good. Also wanted to let you know that my spider bites, I'm going to have to live with those for another 2 weeks. That was 2 weeks ago. We got bitten by a wolf spider. That's what I was diagnosed with.
Why the fuck don't I remember this conversation?
Yeah, my knee, my left leg.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yes, okay.
So they counted 17 bites in total.
The hell did you get bit by a wolf spider at?
Got stuck between my my bed cover and me as I slept.
That's fucking freaky. Not a normal spot. You usually find a wolf spider.
Yeah, this is a big motherfucker too, by the way.
Sure.
Big motherfucker.
You got me paranoid. I'm looking around now.
Yeah. And they don't usually bite unless they're trapped. Well, he got trapped between me and my left leg. And he bit the living fuck. Now, I slept through it all, except for the last 2 bites on my shin. He started on my knee, got all the way down on my shin, and just kept biting the whole way. I have toxins in my left leg now. Like, they're getting better, but for the last week, I could, like, since Thursday, I could feel, it feels like really a hot burn on your leg as the, yeah, Jake Landau sent them, yeah.
That's the equivalent of, like, the Egyptians putting, like, the asps and the bed covers while, somebody's sleeping.
Yeah. You're supposed to just make sure they don't get infected. I don't think any of mine got infected, but he's like, he's like, can I document this? You're okay if yeah, go ahead. He's like, I'd never seen that many spider bites on one leg. And yeah, go ahead, take photos, whatever you want to do, no big deal. But it got concerning when my whole left leg started getting, and it's a week after the bite, and my leg's starting to really, really hurt now. So then I go in because I'm like, this is not good. This is an infection. He's like, nope.
One of only 2 poisonous spiders in India. Congratulations.
I know that, and there's the Eastland spider also is in Indiana sparsely, so it could have been that too.
Am I spacing the other one? Was it the wolf
Recluse, the other one, but Recluse would have. I'd been in the hospital, right? 17 bites from Recluse, I would have been in the hospital. But yeah, this one, yeah. I mean, if I could show you the wounds, are pretty disgusting. They're pussy.
Your camera won't pick that up.
Yeah, they're on this like. Anyhow,
careful. You don't wear pants during the show. Come on.
So we just have recluses here, and that's the deadliest one here in Indiana, and it wasn't that, thankfully. And yeah, I mean, I'm fine. I played golf this weekend. I dragged that leg along, but
Christopher says Derek becoming Spider-Man with the Spider-Man colors.
All right. Also wanted to, I don't know if you saw it. This was so fun to watch, but Tact and Alexi on Tact show.
I haven't watched that yet.
You know what's so funny? How many times I've had that discussion with Tact. I'm sure he doesn't mind me sharing it privately, but I mean a private conversation on this one. But we said this to Pete too. Like, hey,
sure,
just have him on your show. It is not going to be as bad as you think. There will be tit for tat. You're going to have disagreements, and it'll be fine. You'll totally be fine. And we said it to Jimmy. We said it to Alexi as well. Hey, those guys are not as bad as you think they are. Give them a shot. They're okay. They're good. You have a debate, it'll be good. It'll be fun. And they wouldn't have them on the show. Well, time has passed. It's a year and a half later, and here we go. Alexi on Filippo's show, which is great. I think it's great because they disagreed the whole fucking show about numerous things. Not everything, but numerous things. Actually, in the debate, as far as it goes, I think Filippo won it. It's my personal opinion. No offense to you, Alexi, but I think his points in the end, I think you would even have to admit, were better. That, yes, MLS resources should, as big as they are now, should be producing better players than we had in 1994. Like, let's say all our overseas players died in a plane crash. We should still be able to put together a really superb all-American squad right here out of the MLS domestic league. That should not have been an issue. And we're talking about players in 94 who had no club at all. They were signed to U.S. Soccer. I mean, they had no club. MLS didn't exist. They had no club. A lot of them had no club. Lexi didn't have a club. Top Ramos, I think, had it playing in second division in Spain. He had a club, but a lot of guys didn't have clubs. And so that 94 team overachieved. And I think his point, Tact's point in that debate was good, which was, listen, look at all the billions that we're pouring in now into MLS soccer over the years, the last 5 years, with these MLS youth development camps and leagues. And we still, and it's been going on. Granted, other teams have been doing it longer, like, Dallas and Philadelphia, and, they're pumping out more players than like fucking Minnesota, who are just getting started in a lot of ways 5 years ago. So there's still time to get better, but his point is well taken. We should be able to set up a domestic league of players that are absolutely superb. If all the guys playing in Europe blow up on a plane somewhere. There you go.
So Tony brought up the point I was going to make there, because again, I haven't watched the episode yet, so I have no argument against anything they said yet. But in MLS, given the number of international spots and given the number of, infinite number of green cards you could have, and you've talked about this a number of times too, especially how many times. I mean, it seems to be improving this season, oddly enough, but to some extent on some teams.
Yeah.
But I mean, how many times do you watch? How many times do you see a team play, and the only, like you said, the only American player on the team is a goalkeeper
and a center back.
If we're lucky.
For some.
So I mean, it's questionable as far as how the league can develop players if some of the youth just aren't really given much of an opportunity, or you go out and you find some mercenaries to bolster your roster.
Yeah, I mean, it's a problem, and we've talked about it here. I think the average during the playoffs last season was under 3 Americans starting per game. Yeah, that's got to stop. If the teams in the playoffs should have at least 3 to 4 Americans starting for, you would hope, you would want, and you would hope some of them were young. But if Luna's the only guy standing out right now on a regular basis, and there are others, and I have the MLS report of who's contributing, and you got
Sullivan, Guti's having a good season with Chicago, despite the fact Chicago's downfall right now.
Fucking Sebastian Berhalter is on fire, dude. He's on fire again. He came in the second half because they're resting players because they got to play CONCACAF Champions League.
Mm-hmm.
Or Cup or whatever the fuck it's called now. And dude, he immediately came in, blew the doors off the game, scored a goal. There are guys out there who are doing some. Quinn Sullivan. Did you mention him already?
I mentioned Sullivan, but I didn't mention Quinn. But yes, it was supposed to be Quinn.
So there are guys, but Ben Kramashi scored this weekend, I believe, or he got an assist. He got an assist. So yeah,
did he score last week, or did he score the week? I thought he scored recently.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. Christian Ramirez got an assist and a goal for LA Galaxy. But he already went to Scotland and came back. So what are you going to do about that? He didn't really have a great time there. So
I had no idea if Mihailovic did score. I don't watch Colorado.
Yeah, Mihailovic scored as well. The question is, if all the guys in Europe blew up and died one day, how competitive could we be? I think at certain positions we'd be competitive. We wouldn't be great. And in certain positions, we certainly be hurting altogether. Although Aronson scored he scored again this weekend. So it's like,
we've been playing recently, man. I'm not sure.
Who?
I'm saying, given how well we've been playing recently, I'm not sure if we'd have much of a decrease.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, talent-wise, I agree with you. Yes, 100%. I argue that point.
Talent-wise, but then, like, some of these guys, if you gave them that shot of 11 versus 11, Euro guys versus MLS guys, maybe the MLS guys bring more heart and soul to the game.
There was the whole the eyes and vibes, the rolled on reason. He brings the vibes. That's fair.
Right. So anyhow, that's a long conversation. I don't want to get too deep into that now. Just one last shout out to Jesse Wells. This guy's a real talent. Go look him up on YouTube. This guy can write a song in a second. This guy's amazing. He's the modern day Bob Dylan, in my opinion. He's not that good yet, but he's got a lot of Dylan vibes going for him there. I really like this musician. So go check him out. JESSEWELLES. Okay, that's all I got, Brett. I guess we're on to you.
We got some fluff tonight. We should have some fluff. We missed a show last Thursday.
Right, but we got a lot of show.
Yeah,
that's the problem. Lots of show
here.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some animal talk here.
All right,
Derek, how many adult human beings, males, would it take to club a seal?
To club a seal?
Let's start with the baby seal.
One.
Okay, one. Okay. How many men do you think would take to take on a full-grown gorilla? I guess barehanded too, because that's the talking point people are making.
Yeah, like 250.
Man, they are pushing this. There's some people out there that think that 100 adults could take on full-grown gorilla. I'm just saying.
I mean, look at all those adults, though. They're all well-built, healthy males. Come on. Where are you going to find all those dudes?
I don't think it'd matter. What are they going to punch him in his face? He's just going to spin around and do like a little.
Oh yeah, he whacked the shit out of him.
Absolutely take care of us. 100 bear. The reason we're apex predators on the land is because we don't use our bare hands.
We use weapons.
Yes.
You give these guys spears.
Oh my God, we would get destroyed. We'd get literally destroyed in this battle.
Now, with a spear, yeah, we win. Without a spear, they're getting their asses clobbered because, first of all, no more than 6 or 7 guys can get close enough to this guy at once. And he's going to absolutely slaughter those 6 or 7 guys. If this gorilla were bigger, yeah, I mean, you can't get any more than 6 or 7 dudes attacking at the same time. There's not enough space. So they're doomed. They're going to get their asses not only hurt, they're going to get killed.
Yeah. Well, he flings his arms around me. He hits you in the rib cage. That guy's down. He clobbers you in the face. You're down. It's an instant.
Yeah. One swipe with those gorilla arms, you are fucked.
I mean, we punch the gorilla in the head and the skull, and our fingers break.
Yes. It doesn't. It doesn't care. It doesn't care. What are you going to get behind it and strangle its neck? It's got no neck.
What if it was 100 Neanderthals?
That'd be bigger.
Because they have bigger bone density. They're built stronger and stockier. Maybe
closer fight. Even they're not stupid enough to do it, though.
Fair enough.
Who wants to stand in the first row? I know I'd be the guy way in the back.
You remember?
Just watching to see how this works out. Because if the first 20 guys go down, I'm turning around and leaving.
Yeah. Man, it's just like, do you remember the Saturday Night Live skit with they're all like, it was like everybody's dressed up in like ninja apparel, and they're like, guys, there's like 100 of us, and there's only one of him. How did we attack one at a time? How should we have attacked all together?
All together, yep. Yeah. So caveman took out mammoths. Yeah, they did it with spears, as Johnny points out,
and scaring them off cliffs.
Yeah, I mean, they use their brains. This is the way this is presented is a man on gorilla fight.
Yeah, if there was a giant wrestling ring, you threw 100 men in there and one full-grown gorilla.
Oh my God, this gorilla go buck wild on these dudes. They'd be, after the first approach where this gorilla finally got aggressive, they'd all be running for their fucking lives. And it would be like, the guy that doesn't get beat up will be the guy who's the fastest runner away, right? Yeah. So,
I don't know.
Anyhow,
Fumar's trying to Fumar's trying to come up with the reasoning here. He's like, "Hey, we attack in waves. We use strategy. We casualties in the first few waves. Is gonna, I don't know.
Too many white guys." Yeah. Well, how many of them have Viking heritage, I guess would be the next question, because those guys are tough. Yeah, either way, it doesn't matter. This gorilla is crushing the first wave, crushing the second wave, crushing the third wave, then the fourth, because you can only attack with 6 or 7 guys at a time. There's not enough space around the gorilla to do any more than that.
And what nut job wants to be in that front line, too, man?
Hey, you grab his...
I'm gonna jump first, so I'll take all the front shots. You take him out, okay?
You grab his ankle. I'll grab his knee. I'll grab his hip. I'll grab his dick. Hey, if you can get us hold of his dick, you might have a chance.
They also have those massive fucking things. I mean, along with their molars and stuff. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't think so. I think the gorilla has us right now, guys.
Yeah, Fumar's the guy who thinks only Europeans have Neanderthal DNA. Well, technically, a lot of Southern Africans don't have any Neanderthal DNA, if that's where your heritage is, and that's just a fact. So Derek offered to suck his dick. Yeah, not sucking any gorilla's dick. Yeah, and he doesn't understand English, so that's not gonna work. That's not gonna work. All right, next.
I don't know. Maybe we need to try to bribe him with the flesh. Maybe we need to send in this person.
Neanderthals were ugly. Not all of them. We fucked them.
We assume.
So not all of them.
Right?
Not all of them. Go look it up, Colin.
This is the. I must be sharing this differently. Hold on one sec. It says, so maybe we need to bribe the gorilla with the flesh.
I said Southern African. You look it up.
Alina Rose is the ultimate definition of beauty. Derek,
No.
I know you already saw this. You sent it my way.
No, she's not.
Like, okay, start right here.
She looks half-witted.
Well, okay. Well, beauty has nothing to do with mind, unless you're into that.
She looks all faked up.
Well,
she looks like she's got blown up lip, bottom lip.
Maybe she got hit earlier.
Sorry, no. I mean, if this is
things improving. Whoa, wait. I don't know.
I don't know, dude. That's not my type.
Yeah, she's got boobs.
Yeah.
I'd have to do some more research on her. I can't keep going down. There you go. Boomer might have you what you're trying to say here.
She's
she's
pretty,
but she's plastic.
Plastic. I mean, I guess she's pretty. She's pretty in like a AI sense, as if AI created her.
Not a fan of the Michael Jackson nose.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not really.
Everybody's in the same. Yeah, I don't like the inflated ones. Keep it real.
Yep.
So,
Too much makeup.
Do you think that would persuade the gorilla as the 100 men make the retreat?
No.
You think even the gorilla is going to go like, oh, what the hell?
As our friend of soccer friend group would say, I'd hit it. Because he said that about every girl that ever, it doesn't matter who it was that came on the screen. He'd say, I hit it. And I mean, I guess that's what you're into. Colin, on the anthropology thing, I read plenty. In fact, we bring it up here very often about the Neanderthals. Go bring up an article that shows that all of the world has Neanderthal DNA. You're not going to find it. Sorry. Not going to happen. All right. It was a select
Anthony
group.
Dominguez says, Brett, find a hot Neanderthal, please.
We can have this debate, but this is not an anthropology show, unfortunately. I'm right. I'm sorry.
Colin says, Brett, what do I get when Derek gets proven wrong? I don't know. I prove him wrong all the time, and he just goes, eh.
Don't start name calling already. Christ almighty. I have to eat crow usually. So if you send me an article that proves to me that all of Africa also has Neanderthal DNA, which is totally contrary to all the prior research, send it to me. If you're right, I'll eat crow live. Next show. Okay? All right. Derek needs more cave dick. No, I don't. Got enough cave dick right here. All right. What else?
You know what else need lots of, Derek? Petroleum-based synthetic dyes.
Yes. Oh, by the way, I'm not wrong, and I'm not being condescending. This is just who I am. Come on, brother. You already know that. All right. Alexa Law says, so what is the argument against eliminating petroleum-based synthetic dyes? I don't know. What is the argument?
The perfect example or reason for it.
What?
My Fruit Loops aren't neon bright colors, and I don't want any of it. Sorry.
I don't know. I ate pretty non-bright Fruit Loops back in the 80s and the 70s when I was a kid. Loved them. They weren't very bright, but they tasted good.
It's fucking dye. It's just to make it look brighter so that stupid kids will eat more of it.
And let's be clear, no legislation has been passed, nothing. The companies just have agreed to do it on their own, voluntarily. What are we crying about? Why cry?
We're the only country they do it for, though. Because, I mean, I use the Fruit Loops because that's what they always go to on their example. And, like, you look at the Fruit Loops over in Canada, and there is no, red 40, yellow number 5.
And since when did the left become against something like this? The old left would have been totally for this.
This was a talking point
out of our food.
This was a talking point during the 90s. They talked about like yellow number 5? Yellow number 5 decreasing sperm count and shit like that.
During fucking Democratic administrations, they were trying to get rid of this shit for years. Now, a former Democrat is in the Maha, whatever you call it. I don't know what they call it. And they're getting rid of it. Let's all be thankful. Because they're doing it voluntarily. The companies, the corporations are getting rid of this crap, which is banned in Europe, banned in Canada, banned almost all over the world, except for here.
Yeah.
So let's get rid of it.
Boomer says corn syrup is really, really bad. I'm not saying any corn syrup is good by any means, but I believe high fructose corn syrup is the big baddie.
Yes.
When it comes to the corn syrups. Not saying that good, whatever, but everything I've read and heard, it's always been high fructose corn syrup is the big baddie. So
I think that's probably overplayed by the sugar companies, but that's all right. They're always trying to get one up on another, Oh, high fructose syrup, said the sugar companies, is really bad for you. Well, sugar cane is not really great for you either, fatty. Okay, fatty. All right, fatty. All right, here we go. Next.
Apparently there was some big kerfuffle in the Vancouver and Minnesota match.
I have no clue what that was, but it was
have a take on this? Because violation of the league's non-discrimination policy. So somebody on the field said a naughty word.
We don't know what that is, but it was directed towards what's his face from Le Havre. Came over here, Sabi.
Well, kind of know, right?
I don't know what it could be, and I don't know who it's from. But you would think people would have learned the lesson by now. There's certain words you're just not allowed to utter. I'm not talking about cow tits. There's certain things you just shouldn't say.
Utter.
All right. Next. We don't know what the word is, so we'll find out later. We know we'll never find out. It's MLS. We will never find out what was said. That's MLS. That's how it works. And then, unlike the NFL where we get like the detailed comments of what players said on the field or what was said behind the scenes or what was in an email that a coach put in the email. We get that, but we don't get it in MLS. All right.
Don't know what that's going to be. I'm not clicking that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have no idea what was said. My guess is it could have been the N word, the M word, something like that.
But it's directed towards Sabi, huh?
Yes, for a fact.
Okay.
That was said at least live when I watched the game because I watched the game. Yes.
Yeah. Man, microphones are picking everything up nowadays.
Well, I'm sure the microphones did pick it up, but are they going to use that? And then are they going to address it and say what was said? No. MLS usually just says so-and-so gets a 3-game ban and has to attend classes on sensitivity classes. And that's it. It's over.
Remember what happened to that New York guy from Holland or Belgium or whatever?
Yeah.
That incident?
Well, and then his girlfriend said more shit online. Yeah. So, yeah, that didn't help. Yep. And he was from Eastern Europe where some of these comments are, on the norm still.
Sure.
Sorry. Go to Eastern Europe. They're pretty racist. Just saying. They are. However, a study in 2020 demonstrated that there is Neanderthal DNA in all African Homo sapiens. All African Homo sapiens that originated from Africa, but not ones that never left Africa. Go look that up, Colin, specifically. Some Homo sapiens never left Africa. They never encountered the Neanderthals. They never had sex with them, and they don't have the DNA. All of the Homo sapiens at one time were thought to have originated from Africa, which is why they're labeled African Homo sapiens. However, African Homo sapiens that never left Africa, go check that out. A little different. Right? All right.
Okay. Well, sticking in MLS, let's go ahead and bring this up. Was not a great weekend for me when it comes to MLS soccer.
Your team got
crushed. I love how anytime I bring up Chicago, you're like, talk about Chicago. But then something like this comes and you're immediately forward me Pete's comment. It's just like, you know what? I'm going to talk about Chicago every week now. Fuck you, Derek.
Well, listen, you knew this was going to have its down moments, right? And this is one of them.
Down.
I mean, you guys got no defense whatsoever. It was a clown show back there. And, all power to BJ, baby. BJ Callahan, the best U.S. men's national team coach we've had since Bob Bradley, Jurgen Klinsmann. Take your pick. I don't know. I wasn't
away from where we're at now, but yeah.
I'm not a real big fan of Jurgen. I mean, I'm a fan of him for other reasons, but not as a technical manager. But hey, it is what it is.
Here's the big question, though. When BJ was assistant coaching under Greg, was BJ really the creative force as far as getting the team working together?
He was the third creative force, apparently.
What, like under Hudson and then him?
Yes, apparently, yeah. Well, Hudson did well too, so nothing against Hudson. But
let's be fair. Quite frankly, BJ has inherited a better team, and he got them playing in this match at least. Chicago, definitely a work in progress. Been a work in progress for like 13 years.
Okay. Thank you for adding that. Yes, 13 years of work in progress. Yes,
it's like, hey, trust the process, Derek. It's gonna be better next year. It's gonna be better.
I don't trust the process at all.
I love this because all the goals happen before the 60th minute, and then we get our first goal in the 64th minute. It was already 7-0 at the time. It was funny because whenever we scored that goal, the guy was just, after he scored this wonderful fucking goal, he just looked around. It's 7-1, guys. Can't celebrate this.
Right. His name is Zinkernagel too. Zinkernagel.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a weird name. It's very, what's he, Austrian or German? He's one of the two.
I don't know his nationality.
Yeah. He's He's German or Austrian. He's not American.
Yeah. No, absolutely no. He just, this is his first season in America.
Mm-hmm. Well, good for him.
French side, I think, somewhere Ligue 1, if I recall correctly. Maybe I'm wrong.
Two Bundesliga guy.
Okay, you make me look now.
All right, let's just look at real quick. I got an ant on my laptop. There's an ant on my laptop. He's now
Danish.
Dead. With that name, he must be Southern Danish.
On the border.
He must be on the border with Germany with a name like that. Kuipers, that's got to be Dutch, right?
Greek.
Anyhow, who?
Greek, I believe.
Greek? Kuipers? That's about as Dutch as it gets.
Never mind. He's Belgium. Who am I thinking about?
Or Belgium. Okay, that's close enough.
Why am I speaking to the Greek guy? I thought that was the Greek guy. Nope.
Usually ends with Edie's in it, like Harry Paratestes.
Nothing back. Doesn't matter.
Yep.
Doesn't matter.
Right, doesn't matter. Let's move on.
Hey, you want to know the one positive of the game is the 16-year-old center back that we talked about a couple weeks back.
He got to play. And
you know what? Since when he entered the pitch, Nashville didn't score a single goal after that.
Oh God, great! For the last 30 minutes of the game, he kept
15.
It
last 15.
Oh, 15. I'm sorry, I gave him too much credit. All right, let's move on.
Nah, I'm kind of saying that at MLS range.
Okay.
So you sent me this little nugget. MLS youth development has failed.
Yes, this is a really good piece about the Tiki Taka program they're using. The Taka? Is it Tiki? It's Taka?
It's Taka.
Taka program.
Something like that. Yeah, I believe it's that.
I like what he says here.
Tika?
It's Taka.
Taki? I don't know.
Taka. T-A-K-A, Taka.
Tuku?
No.
Okay. Well, let's see what happens.
If you're going to tell me that several of the teams that didn't win had the best quality of play, that were ranked the highest, well, maybe they were losing the game the whole time. That's why they had the ball.
Oh, we covered this last.
So yeah, they had the ball. They dominated the game, but it didn't.
Did we?
Yeah.
Why'd you send it to me again?
No, it's just left over from last show. You scroll too high.
No, it was after the last show.
All right. Well, anyhow, his point being, they rated the teams that lost the games higher than the teams that won the games.
Well, they haven't done anything yet because it hasn't been implemented yet.
No, they did a test run on the program, and the program, Taka program, rated the teams that lost the games higher than the teams that won the games. And what his point is, oh, well, yeah, they went down, they went up 1-0, and then they decided to play defense. Or they went up 2-0, and they decided to play some defense and lock down the win. And so the other team, after they scored in the first 20 minutes, had possession for the rest of the 70 minutes of the game. And so the team that lost 2-0 got a higher rating. Okay, well, that's a broken system already if that's what's going on. Anyhow, guess it's just a supplement. Better be just a supplement. Because if Taka's telling you the best team was the losing team.
They've already... Well, no. It's already mentioned how the top 10 teams that are established by this program are going to be playing the MLS Next tournament. So they've already mentioned how the end of the season tournament is going to be based off of this.
Well, I hope not.
That's why everybody's throwing a hissy fit about like when Aldo was talking about it. He was like, "Are we just going to be breeding a bunch of kids that don't care about winning?"
Right,
you know?
right. So that's my point too. The other team won, but Taka gave the team that lost a higher rating. The fuck's up with that? Is that how we're going to do this shit going forward? I know we're in test phase here, but that shit needs to be fixed. So I am not misrepresenting the program. I am quoting Tab. I'm quoting Tab. Tab's concerned. Are you concerned, Colin? You like Tab. Tab's very concerned. It needs to be a supplement. It cannot be the deciding factor. Cannot be, and that's what Tab says here too.
Well, we've covered it. We've covered a couple of episodes now.
Right.
And we've talked about it. I mean, at any point out where we were wrong.
Right. Go watch this interview. Well, okay. If you're saying Tab was wrong, I think Tab's right. And we're just saying it needs to be supplemental. Shouldn't be the end-all, be-all of how the tournament works out or the league works out or the games work out. The teams that win should still win. If you want to sit down the team that lost and said, hey, you did some really great things, so says Taka, fine. But it shouldn't determine who gets to move forward and who doesn't. For the 184 of you here now, make sure on both Twitter and YouTube, make sure you like, subscribe, and share it with your grandma. We do appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay.
Next topic.
Let's see who we got going out here. We really don't have I was going to pull up it's not Dual Nap Panic. It's not transfer news. So I guess we just pull it up and take a look at it, I guess.
Idiot news. Here we go with some idiot news.
We've got a very young U.S. youth national team goalkeeper that looks to be signing a contract with Atlanta.
Oh, goody. That's
I can't sit here and say, oh, geez, a 15-year-old, blah, blah, et cetera, et cetera. Chicago signed two 16-year-old goalkeepers who one made it to Europe and then one that's currently still playing at Chicago. So who knows? Maybe this is the project that's going to take over for Guzan when he retires at the age of 45.
Maybe so. 15-year-olds can grow large these days. So maybe he's a large mammal. And that's great. He doesn't look like one there.
Look like large mammal.
He looks like a child there.
He's 15, yeah.
Is that a modern photo of him? I bet you he doesn't look that way anymore.
He's also apparently considered. He's only got one more year, and he can move. He can move to Europe if he has the opportunities to, because he has a UK passport apparently.
Considering his options, well, yeah, I wouldn't complain if he went to Europe. That's fine. If he's got a UK passport, go do it. His name's Donaldson. Is probably his dad is Scottish or, whatever. UK. Got a UK passport. It's fine. I don't know diddly do dick about this kid. Nothing. I don't know anything about him. But Tom does, apparently, enough to put this report out.
Hey, got news from his Millis he doesn't know anything about the kid either, probably. But most likely, somebody from MLS said, hey, Atlanta, or one of his contacts at Atlanta said, hey, we're really looking at this 15-year-old academy product. So just like the other ones, Albert and Sullivan and stuff like that, he's reporting on it.
I'll take any progress at goalkeeper. Any. Smallest hopes. Tiniest breaths of hope I will take at goalkeeper at this point. All right, what do we got?
Speaking of Sullivan, we find it now. It is going to be.
I just want to be clear. I want to be clear. We played the Lewis Robles piece on our show.
Yeah.
We did follow it. That's not.
Hey, I'll go back and rewatch. I mean, his segment on Taka or whatever it's called was like 2 minutes long. He was on. Yep. Call it what you want. I'll go back and rewatch it, see if I've misrepresented or misunderstood what he was saying. But I think it was pretty apparent what they were doing, what it's doing. So
yes. And the reports that came out afterwards on the Taka program and the results that the Taka program pumped out about the games is what we're talking about. That's a second report. That's following Lewis Robles, who we respect deeply. Lewis Robles had a great career overseas and a great career here in MLS. This is not against Lewis Robles in any way. So anyhow, that's it.
Okay, we're going to do a...
Do not panic. Do not panic. Cap them now. Cap them now.
But then quickly followed up with one of these.
Transfer news. Transfer news. Who's getting mounted on transfer news? Who's getting over on transfer news? Transfer news. Everyone loves that transfer news but me. Whatever.
All right, before we move on to that, I must pour.
A bore.
I must pour what is one of the most potable domestic beverages ever created in the United States of America. And that is, oh my God, this is such a great beer. And they now have it at Big Red Liquors. They just got it in. Three Philosophers, made in Cooperstown, New York. It's a quad. It's 9.7 alcohol by volume. A blend of quadruple ale and Creek ale with cherries. The cherries are very subtle. And the chocolate, the dark chocolate, and the malts, very good. Blending with the cherries. And then the sort of raisins and apricot. It's all there. It's all super subtle. But if you haven't drank Three Philosophers by the brewery in Omagong, Cooperstown, New York, this is the best, in my opinion, domestic brewed quad in the United States of America. And is it a pretty penny? Yes. It's expensive. But it's expensive for a good reason. It's fucking delicious.
There we go.
Oh, it's so good. Oh, I'm glad to be drinking this in front of everybody. Okay. Jeff Aaronson says, oh my God, makes great beer. Yes, they fucking do. Yes, they do. This I could just talk about this for the next hour. I'm not going to do it, but I could. It's that fucking good.
BMR says Derek is a beer snub. Belgian beer.
I'm a snob about music and beer, BMR, as you Belgian well know. Yes. Belgian beer, kind of my thing. I am a snob. And I'll just admit it. I'll admit it so nobody gets offended. I always say that to people. I know you like that band, but I'm a music snob, so don't take this personally, but that band sucks. I don't say that, actually. I just say,
yeah, you kind of do. You kind of do.
All right. Edgar says,
I don't know if we covered this last Monday or not. I guess I know just on time frame. 22nd. Nope, that would have been the day after.
Well, one of the guys certainly earning a look from teams in Europe has certainly got to be Quinn Sullivan. He got another goal or an assist. He got a goal contribution this weekend. And he pops up on our list constantly on the regular. So, yeah, he got an assist for Philly this weekend. And listen,
he had a solid season last season, and he's starting off strong.
For the number of teams playing in MLS, the list of MLS American contributors is generally pretty short. So he's on there often, along with Diego Luna and Aronson, Mihailovic, and Berhalter.
Mm-hmm.
Regularly on our list from MLS. So if you're looking for a player and you're FC Twente, yeah, absolutely you go after that guy. Now, he's not going to get paid probably as much, but it is his opportunity to go there to get right? And I believe, Keith Perry's not there anymore. He plays in the second division. So he doesn't get to play with Keith Perry. But, yeah, go do it. There's no way that Paxton Aronson's going to be playing for Utrecht next season unless they flip out a wallet.
They're active, but didn't we cover on Monday that they're actively pursuing an extension on loan?
Mm-hmm. They might get him on loan, but they're not going to be able to buy him unless the sell-on percentage.
No. I don't think they're going to buy him. I think they're looking to loan again.
Well, they're
looking at.
They're going to be playing Europa League ball next season. So yeah, they want him. And quite frankly, he's been one of the best midfielders in Holland this season. By far, Utrecht would not be where they are right now without Paxton Aronson, which is more than I can say where Leeds might be without Brendan, which isn't fair because Brendan plays in a much more difficult overall league.
Oh, yeah.
But still, what we're seeing from Paxton is some real growth. What we're seeing from Brendan is the same thing. It's just whether dark Brendan shows up or normal Brendan shows up. Right? Paxton's got something else. He's got something big. Now, the question is whether or not his German team says, we're not letting him go. We're not going to let him go now. Not after what we just watch him do. I mean, we want to hold on to him.
I guess the big question when talking about Brendan versus Paxton in that sense is that you'd have to gauge both in the same quality of league. I mean, quite frankly, before you can say, well, he's got something different. Well, he is also doing that for Utrecht.
I get the difference, but I do think that even if you put, and we saw Brendan Aronson in Austria, he's still a busybody. And that's something you need for certain styles of play. Paxton Aronson, however, is not a busybody. He's a calculated assassin. And you could compare the Austrian league to the Dutch league easily. Dutch league's better. And what Paxton has done for Utrecht and getting them to the top of the table, not all the way to the top, but pretty goddamn close. Fucking impressive. Who would have thought at the beginning of the season Utrecht would be sitting in a Europa League spot? Or for most of the season, battling for a Champions League spot? Not many. Not many.
Not after the past couple seasons we watched with Taylor Booth at the helm.
Right. And Paxton is less of a runt than Brendan. He's got a bigger upper body.
Brendan's 90 pounds wet. Paxton's 95 pounds wet.
Yep. I think that we could see the time when it's pretty obvious to most. Not sure if it's now yet, but it could be. In time, as time passes, that Paxton is definitely considered the better of the two brothers, which the father said 5-6 years ago, by the way, when they were both coming up in Philadelphia. They said, I know you're really like Brendan, but you just wait till my son Paxton comes up through this shit.
Well, he needs to get a call up. And we've been saying it the past couple windows. Kind of surprised it wasn't included here, or,
There's nothing like your father picking a favorite son. in front of the media. I can't imagine, and my dad would have been right had he said, yeah, I know my son's in the, top 30 here in Indiana, but you just wait. I got a son, another one. He's going to be top 2, top 1. He's going to battle for the championship every year. That first son I got, he's good. The second one I got, he's a lot better. And he would have been right. Absolutely. So my brother played for 3 Indiana state championships in a row, and I never gotten anywhere near close. Anyhow,
brother's younger though, right?
Yep, that's what I'm saying.
This is also a solid enough talking point in that sense too. When you're the younger brother, you're constantly playing against your older brother. And I don't know about if this happened with you and your brother on tennis or anything like that.
Makes you better
in soccer. Yeah, I played against my brother, and I played on some of his teams. He's 2.5 years older than I was. I'm sure Paxton did the same thing with Brendan a lot, played up or played with a lot. So, I mean, it makes a difference. I mean, and, Paxton had to have that little bit more of a fight in him because, generally speaking, he would have been the smaller one of the group because of his age difference, quite frankly.
Yeah, I think that, again, I just compare the two guys and I look at the way Paxton handles himself with Utrecht. He's just a much more calculated, thoughtful, tactical player. Whereas this season for Leeds, and maybe that's Brendan's role for the team, so that can't really hold that totally against him. But Brendan is just a working merchant. He's a work merchant. But he's not a real goal provider or goal creator. Whereas for the deep line role that Paxton's playing for Utrecht as part of the covering 2 in front of the 4, I mean, he played a couple games more further advanced. He's still scoring goals and getting assists on a much regular basis than his brother. And yes, the leagues aren't comparable. I get it. But so take that all with a grain of salt.
In fairness, he's got 2 more assists than Brendan does. He's got 7 goals and 4 assists.
On a team that was supposed to be mid-table. And you got to keep into account, he's got more assists and more goal contributions playing a deeper lying position than Brendan does. Brendan is behind this. Brendan played behind the striker the whole fucking season.
But in a league that hyper focuses on attack.
I'm sorry, but go through the list of CAMs and attacking players in the championship and look where Brendan Aaronson rates.
Anything about that. I'm just saying that Brendan plays in a more defensive based league. So I mean, he's not a creative force. We talked about this at the beginning of the show, Derek.
That's the problem.
He's Paxton scoring and assisting more bucket loads than his brother is.
Playing in a deeper role.
In a hyper attacking league, though.
No,
so it's a deeper role, but they're still pushing up in the attack more.
Utrecht was not supposed to be an attacking team. They're supposed to be fighting mid-table this season. They're at the top of the table, and it's because of Brendan fucking Aronson that they are there.
Two totally different things. They could be still an attacking-based team, but still be fighting in the middle.
No, fighting in the middle of the table? That's what I'm talking about. They were supposed to be mid-table team less.
They're not in attack. They're fighting in the middle, but they're still in a hyper-attacking focused league. The league is still focused primarily on attack.
Utrecht?
Sure.
That's pretty much back and forth every game I watch.
Oh, okay, yes. That's kind of the point, though.
I mean, if you want to call that attacking, I just call
this team's attacking, and then all of a sudden this team's attacking.
I call it mostly incompetence when they're playing Almere or some other shitty team. But yeah, listen, I'm not debating you that Brendan plays in a better league. My point is they are different players completely.
Sure.
And I think that because of his ability to be more calculated and because of the weight of his responsibility playing in front of the back 4 for Utrecht and contributing as many goals as he has from a more deep lying midfielder spot, that says something about Paxton.
And I'll just say this much: the role that he played for Utrecht, if done in a championship league, he wouldn't be anywhere near as often near the goal, scoring goals as often. I'm just saying,
probably not.
I'm just saying since it's a different type of league, and I understand your point.
Yeah,
I'm just saying when you're talking about Holland, you're talking about goals and stuff like that. They just seem to come in the buckets.
I think I'm mostly talking about demeanor between the two.
Yeah. I mean, I see more confidence in Paxton, quite frankly.
I do too. And
I'm not arguing your points at all. I'm just saying.
Yeah. I just think that the games I've watched this season, maybe it's easier to be more confident in Holland than it is in the championship.
Well, and to the point you kind of made too. I mean, Brendan was very confident at Salzburg.
Oh yeah,
he didn't score in the bucket loads. I think his highest season was like 5 goals or something like that.
Right, but he had more assists, with Salzburg. And
I'm curious.
I don't know. You can look that up, but I'm curious because I think those leagues, if you had to compare them, I'd say Holland's way better league.
Holland's definitely got a more like a stronger top of the league, if you will. Like there's at least what, like 4 or 5 teams that
Feyenoord,
probably would,
Ajax, yeah.
Lord, it's zoomed in so much.
PSV. There's always another couple clubs too that are always fighting up there. That are quality, and then you got the bottom of the league, which is usually junk.
Okay, so in at Salzburg, his best season was 5-5.
Yeah, that's not great.
And he had a 4-5 season too.
So that's playing with Salzburg, the best team at the time, for years reigning in Austria, and you're a 5-5, where we got a guy playing at the top of Holland right now, Paxton Aaronson, putting in what, 7-5?
Yeah.
So
7-4.
I'm sorry, more impressive. Of course, the Brendan Aronson of Salzburg is different than the Brendan Aronson now. I just want to see Dark Brendan, and we only get to see Dark Brendan in spots. We see him a game here and a game there. We saw it for Union Berlin for the last 3 games of the season before they went down. So I'm not even go down. The point being, we saw him play well for 3 games at the end of the season when he got left off the roster. And that's what we need from Brendan all the time. But too often, Brendan's just not around. For you play as many games as you did for Leeds this season, and as they scored more goals this season, I believe, than any fucking championship team. And they scored 4 more today. Was he involved in any of the goals today with an assist or an actual goal? No, he wasn't. And that's a concern, because if you're playing CAM, it's your job to get goals and assists. That's your job. It's your job. Anyhow, not saying we know which player's better right now, but I'm leaning Paxton. I'm leaning Paxton.
That's fair. Yeah.
I think going forward, I think Paxton's going to be a better player. I think his head's better. I think he's stronger built on the upper body than Brendan. But, Brendan got better at that too. He's not flopping like a fish all over the field anymore. Not as much as he used to. Still does it on occasion. But he gets more calls for those now. He doesn't flop at the slightest bump like he used to. So, anyhow.
While we're talking about the championship here, these 2 guys that would be surprised are still at their club at the end of the summer.
Oh, they won't be. Steins and Sargent are gone. They are gone. Norwich is running out of their, Premier League money. They're done. They need to sell.
This is their last EPL money season. So,
yep.
Yeah, they're gonna have to offload. And they already came out and they said there was at least 4 players that were getting offloaded already. Tompkinson happens to have been one of them.
Well,
not that he was actually playing or anything, but
not for great play or anything. Yeah. He'll go play in League One somewhere.
Yeah, so Sargent's definitely gone. I would be honestly surprised if Sainz is still with them.
No way. There is no fucking way, dude.
He's second leading goal scorer of the season in the EFL.
He's just too good
as a left striker, left winger, if you want to. But
and if you're one of the 3 teams going up next season, you want to pick a couple guys from the EPL who are the best players in EPL, and these 2 guys were definitely 2 of the. Like, I mean, if you're looking at a list, you create a list of 20 guys who are the best players in the EFL. And you say, which of these 20 guys do I want on my team? Because you played them all season. You know who they are. Like, oh, we got killed by this guy. This guy killed us. Those are the guys that you want as you're going up to bring with you on your journey to the Premier League. So I think Leeds has already talked extensively behind the scenes. The fans certainly want Sargent. Might as well get Sainz while you're at it.
Yeah. John says Sainz is a streaky player.
I agree.
Yeah, so long as he's learned his lesson not to spit at people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he needs to control that impulse, whatever that is, the idiot impulse.
Yeah. With VAR, Sainz gets 5 more red cards this season.
Yeah, if he can control that, he's a great player. And when everybody was more healthy at Norwich, they had a great thing going on there. But as the season went on, and you can say that about a lot of EFL teams, like, oh, lots of guys were injured. Yeah, it's true. They were. But they had a lot of injuries, Norwich, this season. Yeah. So, I'm glad that I won't have to watch Norwich next season if Sargent moves on. That's all I got to say, because these last 6 games were unbearable.
Hey, they got an American goalkeeper right now. Didn't he start the last couple games?
He's not, but is he playing?
I thought he started. I thought he played the last couple games.
I don't think so.
Remember what his name is?
Nope. I don't. He's got an American passport, so that's American enough, yes, but I don't remember who he is. All right, for the 209 of you here now, make sure you like, subscribe, share it with your grandma.
It's Vincent Reyes.
Did he play?
I'll double check.
I don't remember him playing this week.
Norwich City FC. Doing this all on the fly.
U.S. Soccer Way.
I'm just on Google to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Looks like Gunn played last match.
I don't think he's played, Brett.
I could have swore he did.
Yeah, I thought he played for the 2 team.
No, maybe not.
That would have been bigger news.
I thought we talked about it. No, maybe I don't know.
No, he played 2 team.
I don't know why that even come up in news then.
U23s. Yeah, U23s. All right, but it's still worth. I mean, listen, we're desperate at goalkeeper. We're going to keep an eye out on any goalkeeper at this point. Really, honestly, be fair.
Well, until he gets actual playing time, we'll just keep an eye on him, keep tabs on him.
Yeah. Ideal destination for Sargent next year. Have you voted on this yet?
I have not. That's why it still looks like this.
I think honestly, ideal would be Germany, but realistically, it looks like Leeds.
That's definitely all the talking points right now, right?
Yeah, I think realistically, Leeds is the spot. Pirro he's not a center forward. They're going to need more than Pirro. They're going to need at least 5 to 6 more players on that team, Leeds team. They're going to have to add, and 2 of them or 3 of them are going to come from the best players they can snatch from the EFL. And then the other 3 will be maybe not big name signings, but I mean, we saw what they did before. Those weren't big name signings, right? Look, and I don't know what they can afford at this point. They're, that's the other problem. The financial fair play thing, they've been hovering just above water on for a while.
Vincent Reyes played last week against Millwall.
What was that? Looks like that was is that an EFL game? Or
Yeah. I mean, they have the rankings. It's championship.
They lost, but yeah, I mean, keep an eye on this kid for sure.
Yeah, he's played 3 games so far this season. Why did he come up as long or gun? I was looking on Google. Google sucks.
Oh yeah, Google sucks.
All right, I'm saying Leeds. So I would prefer.
I prefer Germany, but yeah,
I prefer him to go back to Germany. But I think Leeds is most realistic, given the money that Norwich is going to want to make.
Go back to Bremen.
Yeah, oh God, Bremen fans would love that.
Why not?
They were kind of pretty livid with how he left Bremen, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, but as long as they stay up, which they should, you got the connection there. It'll be pretty cozy. Your wife's, I believe, she's German. I think she's from Bremen, right?
Fuck, I know.
I don't know. I'm guessing that's where they met. So I don't know.
Bremen have no concern about being relegated. They're in 8th place.
Yeah, I know. They're going to stay up.
Well, so you're like they just got to stay up. I'm like, where are they at?
Well, okay.
I assume they'd be like 15th or 16th.
They're going to stay up. They're not going to go down.
Don't fuck it up now, Bremen.
How many games are left? 4, 5?
Yeah, handful. Yeah.
They couldn't. I don't think it's even mathematically probable. Yeah, for them to go down into the last spot, which is I don't think they even if they lost every game from here on out.
There's 3 games. So it's week 32, 33, and 34.
Yeah, they can't go down then. They can't go down. No chance. So
they do have a chance, however, to get into Europa. And if teams keep losing, maybe Champions League.
I don't know if they'll do that. But it is good to see Werder Bremen in a more mid-table spot. That is what I am used to from Werder Bremen. And yet I sit there watching 2 Bundesliga and watching Hamburg and Schalke and Kaiserslautern. All these classic German teams stuck in the 2nd division. You're just like, God, wow. It's just, I would never have imagined that we're at this point. That Schalke is just like a 2nd division Bundesliga. It's Schalke, for Christ's sake. It's crazy. Anyhow.
It's administrative, where they almost got relegated 2 seasons in a row or whatever.
I know. Yeah. I know. Yeah, it's crazy.
Completely shit canned.
It's fucking Schalke. I mean, the fans must just be beyond themselves at this point. Like, how is this happening? We're one of the biggest teams in Germany for years, decades. All right. According to English journalist Simon Phillips, Chelsea are interested in a potential move for PSV and US. Oh, come on. Midfielder Malik Tillman. Tillman's versatility. No, he's not going to Chelsea.
I don't want him at Chelsea.
I don't want him there. And yeah, he's not going there. Let's just put it that way. He ain't going to Chelsea, people. Not happening. Again, I've been saying shit like this with these kind of reports for 2.5 years on this show. Have yet to be wrong. And if I'm telling you, Tillman ain't going to Chelsea, he ain't fucking going to Chelsea. I would eat crow. I would have had to eat crow about 58,000 times for the last 2.5 years had I got any of these calls wrong. And I haven't got any of them wrong. This is bullshit. It ain't happening. He's not going to Chelsea. And if he did, he would just end up being part of the loan army. So fuck that. Fuck the loan army at Chelsea.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck Chelsea, first of all. Just fuck you. Fuck Chelsea. Yeah. I mean, those of you who are...
Fuck all the big teams at this point. Let's get our boys back into consistent playing time everywhere instead of concerning about the top of the tops.
I just want to be clear. No offense to Chelsea fans, they are allowed to root for Chelsea, but
I don't think they can. I don't think they're.
I am not a fan of Chelsea. And I respect your ability to love Chelsea, but I do not like Chelsea. I never did, never will, and I don't like any of the big teams. So this is just me telling you, don't get offended. I don't like big teams. Period. Go ahead, Brett.
Apparently, Johnny prefers double D's over Sarge. Not big enough pecs, I guess.
Double D's.
Johnny's into the big boobs.
Dildo.
Double
All
D's.
Kevin Loyola. Go ahead. Yeah.
Kelvin just questions whether or not he can make the leap. I don't think he could, personally.
Kelvin, we don't always agree, but you got this one right. I question. Yes, you should question.
Double D's for the win.
I think
Johnny apparently meant Damian Downs,
Downs.
Younger brother of Dominic Downs.
Yes. Then there's Gerald DK. Yeah.
All right. What we got going on next? We find out what the next talking point is. Oh, we're already up to a big topic here.
That's fine. If the show ends in 1 hour and 40, we're fine.
Good luck. I had something pulled up for this. I can't remember what it was. Either way, let's just talk about this. Oh, I didn't remember what I had pulled up for this. First off, let's start talking like this. Greg Perez, this is back at 8:35. So sorry, Greg, if you're not still watching the show. I wanted to hold off until we get to the actual topic at hand. Remember, no foreign manager has won a World Cup.
Okay. Greg, there have been only, 7, 8 teams that have won a World Cup?
Now, it's possible that he's just quoting what BA says here.
Could be. That doesn't mean it won't happen at some point. And then you have to also take into account that a lot of the teams that go deep, all right, into a World Cup with a foreign coach went way deeper than they ever should. Okay? Way deeper with a foreign coach. We're not looking at any prospect of winning a World Cup anytime soon. Not in my lifetime. I'd like it to happen. Don't think it will. I'd like to see a semifinal appearance, but I don't expect us to win a World Cup anytime real soon. Not this World Cup. But many foreign managers have taken underdog teams pretty deep in the fucking tournament. And that's what I'm looking for. Not really worried about winning a World Cup because there are only 7 or 8 teams that ever won a World Cup. And yeah, they were all coached by domestic managers. That's fine. It's Brazil, Uruguay, Argentina, Germany, England. Please. Of course. We're not any of those teams. Any of them.
To even make the argument itself, you'd have to assume that if we had a domestic coach or an American coach coaching us, that we would stand a chance of winning a World Cup. I mean, the stars would have to align. I want this to be a good world. I want to see progression.
Yes,
and I want to see us compete.
Yes,
I have no false expectations of assuming that we would actually win the World Cup, despite the fact of what Poach says.
Yeah, we're not going to win this World Cup, folks. I mean, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news. I mean, if you actually believe that was possible, like anything is possible, I suppose. But we're not winning this World Cup. What we're trying to get is into a competitive stage. I would love to see us in the quarters and the semis. Semis would be it'd blow my balls off. If we're competitive and we get to the final and we lose, okay, great. I'm still jerking it on a daily basis about that because we're not supposed to be anywhere near the semis or the finals. Home field advantage or not. So if you're saying a foreign manager has never taken a totally out in the outskirts team that has no chance of winning the World Cup deep into a World Cup, that has happened multiple times. And if you're saying we need an American coach to get us to win a World Cup, well, it ain't Jesse Marsh. It's not Greg Berhalter. And it's not any other fuddy-duddy you can name that's an American coach. They're not doing it. They're not getting us deep. Maybe Jesse Marsh was the perfect fit. I don't know. But regardless if it was Jesse Marsh that we hired, we're still not winning a World Cup. We're worried about getting deep into this next World Cup, making a good showing, fighting like hell, gaining respect from the rest of the world. That's more important at this point. I'd like to win one before I die, but I don't see it because it's a very small club of World Cup winners. It's a very small club, and we're not in it.
90% of the world population is on your side, Derek. I would love to see us win a World Cup in my lifetime.
Yes.
But yeah, so he space name. Greg did go on to say that he agrees with BA's sentiment in the sense that he thinks that we need domestic coaches. And you can sit there and make that argument. It's perfectly fine.
Yes.
But but then again, there's arguments for it. And then maybe you can make the argument saying, hey, in order for us to start work on our way up, we need to get this coach who's been there, did this X, Y, and Z. Although that's a fallacy in its own right there, personally.
Yeah.
It's going to be a talking point forever because, quite frankly, despite what BA does say, we don't have the world's strongest coaching coaches available to us that are American. We do talk about a number of different American coaches that would be a viable option. We talk about Perez. We talk about Matarazzo.
Do.
As far as American, and then we domestic, because that's Colin says, he goes, love how Bruce Arena said domestic coach and people changed it to American. Then moved the goalpost to Arena 2018 World Cup qualifying. Ignoring that last part because that's not what we're doing right now. It's a kind of a good point because I heard domestic and I immediately thought American, which I think most people will think that.
I thought Wilfred Nancy.
Thank you. Yes.
Yep.
That's what I think. That's kind of what Colin's making that point for.
Yes, and he's right.
There are just because he says domestic doesn't necessarily mean that they have to be American.
Well, here's the real issue. By the way, this is the core of the issue, Brett. And this is where Casey Keller and others like Jimmy have a big sticking point, including Davies and even Miola. And they're all fucking right. So we don't have to play this because we're going to play it out now. They all said the same thing. All of them. Where is the American former players or player on the fucking staff? You can say whatever you want about Jurgen Klinsmann, but Jurgen Klinsmann wasn't daft enough to not have former American players like Casey Keller on the fucking goddamn coaching squad. He knew, Klinsmann, it was important to have former players who went out and did it and competed in World Cups to have them on staff. Then you listen to Tab and you say, where are all the American coaches, even the youth programs, the former American players in the coaching staff? Where are the 94 players, the 98, the 2002 players, 2006? Where are all those guys? Why isn't Clint Dempsey on anybody's fucking staff anywhere?
They're administrators at regular, just like youth clubs. They're in U.S. soccer. They're pundits. But what they're not is coaching.
They're not intricately. Where is JJ? Where's Jermaine Jones? Why isn't he an important part of this fucking staff with Pochettino? Because there's a guy that can bring fire and experience and tell about the other Euro-based players who didn't play in the United States. Some have never lived here before, about how it is to bring the fire for your flag, even though you were fucking born in the country and your dad's just a military guy that you barely knew. Well, in his case, he knew his dad. Others don't. I mean, that's what's missing on Pochettino's staff. If you want to talk about, you don't need Poach to be that guy. You just need to hire someone to be that guy. To be the guy that can really tap into these guys. You need a guy who came from Europe and was awesome for this team to express how devoted those players need to be. You need a guy who did it, like Dempsey, on the staff. Why is Pochettino not hire any American? No former American players to be on his fucking staff. How fucking short-sighted is that? He wants to do this all himself? Why not get some help? Why not get some help from guys who were fucking legends? Bring them on the staff and say, here's your role for this team. Your role is to pass on our history and the dedication and the attention to what it means to play for the U.S. men's national team and how important it is. It's your job. Go do it. That's all your job is to do. At least Jurgen Klinsmann, the last foreign manager we had, was fucking smart enough to do that. And by the way, he hired a lot of his staff was American. By the way, Jurgen Klinsmann.
Mm-hmm.
And they were integral in putting together the strategy for the World Cup, which they were successful in getting out of the group of death.
Yeah, and Jurgen was his own beast because he was already relatively Americanized at that point anyway.
Yes, he's California.
So I mean, he's already fully, he was kind of integrated into,
he's
as Bruce talks about here,
30 years.
Culture and our environment. Yeah. This is one of the points that I have to butt heads a bit with. But BA says, and I think when you have coaches that don't know the culture, our environment, our players, it's hard. I agree with the our players part. Not knowing the pool, difficult.
Yes.
And Poach came into this with like a year and a half, 2 years to do anything without knowing much of the outside of a smattering of players. You know, his coaching staff probably like who's this guy? Oh, geez, he played all last cycle. Okay, you know, but as far as our culture, our environment, I mean, what is Poach's big talking points been this entire time he's been here? You know, we got to go out there and we got to bust our butts. Pride for the flag, X, Y, and all this stuff. That kind of sounds like what we've been in the past. We go out there, we punch above our weight limit, you know, and we grind it out. We've got the pride for the flag and stuff like that. Pride for the to represent the national team.
How is
and
he?
It sounds like the same thing. I mean, it sounds like the same thing at that point.
How is he supposed to be the representative of that? That was the point with Klinsmann bringing in all the Americans he did into his staff, including Tap Ramos, including Casey Keller, which was like, these guys been there, done that. They're going to, when we start talking about representing your country and how important it is and all those things, he didn't do it. He let Casey do it. He let Tap Ramos do it. He let other members of the staff do it. How can Pochettino do it? He's not American. At least bring one or two fucking guys onto your staff who do understand that, who played in World Cups, who can deliver that message for you. You don't have to do that part of it because you can't. You're not an American. You can't deliver that part of that message. And Bruce is right. That is a really big part. The chip on your shoulder. The, hey, we're Americans. We're supposed to be doing something amazing. That's something Dempsey could deliver. That's certainly something JJ could deliver from a Euros perspective. I came here. I was not born here, but I bled for the flag. I battled my fucking balls off for this team every minute and every second. And you need to do that too. Not that there are an abundant amount of foreign-born players that don't care. I'm not saying that. But, give them an extra lift, a chip. Give them a chip. Let them go into the game with a chip. You need to represent even more. Because you were born here, you need to give it even more. Like I did. JJ, Dwayne Jones, I gave more. Because I knew I was important here. I knew I had to prove myself that I was important for this team. I don't know. I don't know why. That's my fix for this. Of all the guys, and we're not going to play any of these videos now. Fuck it all. We already brought up all the topics. But Michael
a couple
Bradley.
people mentioned Michael Bradley.
What about
what about bringing in Michael Bradley as an?
I think he's fine he's a little bit of a know-it-all, but maybe he's matured since then. We've heard that from many players, by the way, Brett.
None of which actually played with Michael Bradley at this point, though.
Well, people told us this off camera. He's a bit of a know-it-all. That's why he would not be a good coach. He's too much of a know-it-all. He's a kind of an asshole. Now, if he's tempered that, then good. I would put him on there too. At least he's played a couple World Cups. He knows, right? He knows.
We could use a player right now who's an asshole.
We do need a little bit of an asshole too. Yes. But if you're going to bring one, I'd rather bring Clint Dempsey and Jermaine Jones, to be honest with you. No, Claudio, unfortunately, yeah. Well, go ahead.
that was a joke, but you mentioned Dempsey or JJ. JJ, I can understand and back up as far as bringing in as an assistant coach. Dempsey, I mean, outside of his lived experiences with the U.S. men's national team and trying to, maybe hyping the guys up, say, hey guys, you got to get your shit together, playing like a bunch of pussies. He doesn't have any coaching experience at all.
Doesn't need it. He's not there for coaching.
That's take away the assistant coach moniker then.
You're still an assistant coach.
You're the vibes coach. You're the vibes coach.
Call it what you will. I don't care what you call.
Remember, you told me we're not watching that.
Exactly. Well, I don't care what you call Clint Dempsey, but if you bring him in as a coach, he is there to work on mentality of the players. You coming in with a pair of balls? Same thing with Jermaine Jones. You coming in with a pair of balls? You ready to fight? Here's what it takes. That's what it takes. I think you got to bring, and it's not like Dempsey is completely void of having any tactical advice. Of course he would bring his own experience and his own tactical, nuance to it. Here's how I think you can improve as a CAM. Here's how I think you improve as an actual striker. This is what I did. This is how I played off the shoulder of this player. You could do it too. All I'm asking for Poach to do at this point is add someone, a person, one person, so you don't have to lead the chant of USA, USA, because you're not USA. Have somebody who can come in, and I'm not literally saying they're going to lead a chant. I'm saying metaphorically, they're there to connect with the American player and the mentality that we have always had as a team that fights to the death. That's all I want. Bring in a guy, not Shannon Sharp, by the way.
We got nothing to worry about on the men's side,
Mm-hmm.
Now, if Emma brought him in,
you do not need a coaching license to be an assistant coach. No. As far as I understand it, you don't. You could hire Mother Teresa to be your assistant coach.
I'm not going to take it. I'm not going to waste any time looking that up. I'll look it up off air. I don't know if you do or not. So I'm not saying one way or another.
Well, if you do, fuck the licensing committee.
Well,
that made that a rule.
It could be a FIFA rule more so than anything, but still.
Well, call it whatever you want.
That's why I said drop the coaching moniker. Just say, hey, you're the vibes guy.
Just call him Caesar. Caesar 1 and Caesar 2. Bring them in. Have them on the staff so they can relate and talk to these players about what it's like playing in a World Cup for the American national team. That's it. I haven't seen this one.
Wilmer Sanchez says, I think you sent it to me, Derek. Or did you send it to me willy-nilly?
Maybe.
Doesn't matter. Wilmer Sanchez says, for our $2 says, I want an Herb Brooks type of coach. No more softies.
Well, you know what? People said he wasn't a softie. People said Poach was not a softie. So if he is now, that's news to a lot of people who said that Poach is not a softie. He'll get up your ass.
Just because I have no idea where to throw this in at.
Revenge to Jimmy Chandler.
Okay, all right. So let's just listen to NBA talk with Alexi here.
Okay, let's do it.
Big talking point is who BA has learned the most from as far as coaches are concerned.
Do you think that the American coach is, I guess, disrespected or not respected enough internationally as to what they can do?
Yes, I don't doubt that at all. And I tell these stories frequently. You know, when I went abroad and met with coaches and sat down with them and have been kind of surprised at you know, where they're at. And I still say to this day, I've learned more by talking with a coach in the NFL, the NBA, or baseball than I have speaking with coaches in Europe or South America.
Whoa. Okay. I'm not sure why exactly that would be, but I think that Bruce has a different perspective on how tactics work. He's a much more offhand manager.
Yes. The fact that he's saying that he's learned more from other American sports coaches than soccer coaches around the world makes me think that he's looking at it like this is how you manage a team.
You manage and motivate.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not about. Yeah.
It's sort of like the whole we jokingly say that I have no idea if this is the case or not, but the BJ and the Hudson-esque type of roles where it's like you put the players in, go play.
Yeah, we've gone over the basics on the practice field, but when I put you on the field, you are the purveyors of your fate. And I'm here to motivate you. I'm here to set the team up, but I'm not here to, you know, video game play you through the game. That's on you. And if that was a unproductive way to lead a team, then Bruce Arena would be a horrible coach. But frankly, he's the most successful coach in MLS history. He's also the most successful coach as far as getting us to the furthest round in a World Cup. Yeah. I get it. 2018. I already hear you. Yes, that was bad. And that's not all on just Bruce. That's on the players too. But yeah, that was bad. And it's unfortunate that that's going to sully his, what I would call, for the most part, a pretty sparkling career outside of calling what's-his-face a F word.
Richie, right?
Richie, yeah.
I think coaching in our country is simply outstanding. It really is. Have we trailed a little bit in our sport? Yes, but today, you know, I look around the league. There's some great American coaches in our league, and I know that better than anybody because I've been around all of these guys for a number of years. We have some simply outstanding coaches in the league, and
we do. There's some young ones that are good. I think he's saying this self-servingly because a lot of them come from his loin. They're not related to him, but they worked for him over the years, and some of them are now coaching teams that are quite successful. So, yeah, I get what he's saying there. Go ahead.
I was going to say, to his point, his overarching point, as far as this talking point is concerned, is it better to have a foreign coach that's played in World Cups, coached in Europe, or having a domestic coach who understands the player pool, maybe the mentality, maybe the playing styles of the players, and you have somebody like a BJ, like again, BJ or Hudson when they're little short stints came in and like completely just hands off. Like I said, just say, hey, you're in your spots, go play your game. Maybe at that point with the international level, as far as just managing your team, may be what separates, a good coach from a bad coach. The ability to just manage a team.
It just depends on how arrogant you are about your tactical, your tactical acuity and how specific and joysticky you want to be about it. Bruce is not a joystick guy. I do not like joystick managers. Never have, never will. And the question is, in the future, well, we know in Europe it gets quite joysticky, right?
Yeah.
So the question will be, how many more Americans are ever going to make that transition as Marsh did and coach in Europe? We got guys in Europe now. Well, they're out of jobs, but we had, managers in Germany, for instance, So, yeah, I mean, I think there are good American coaches. I don't think the coaches in MLS, I think a lot of them have a long way to go. We got Steve Cherundolo going back to Germany for sure. Steve Cherundolo is getting a job. He's going to get it in the 2 Bundesliga for sure. Maybe 3 Bundesliga if he can't work out a good deal. But he will be coaching in Europe based on his experience, his ability to understand German players and international players. He'll get a job. And then maybe someday he'll come back and coach the national team when he's done what he's got to do. You got Matarazzo out there, etc. He'll get a job eventually again based on his success of keeping teams up or bringing teams up. He'll be there again. Mm-hmm. There's a lot to look forward to, but I think he's mostly talking about his minions who work for him. Yeah, I don't know if those guys will ever get out of MLS. And I don't know if they will be better than Wilfred Nancy is right now. I mean, Wilfred Nancy is sort of the domestic bar as far as coaches go in MLS. So we got a lot of
supers. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot.
Just a second. I want to pull this one because we haven't asked anybody to go on and make sure you like, subscribe.
Like, subscribe, share it with your grandma and your stepsister. All 221 of you. Make sure you do that. We do appreciate you hanging out with us here this Monday. I just drank a 9.7 beer after. Yeah, it's done. Yeah, probably too fast.
I'm going to play the last 10 seconds just in case he says a juicy tidbit here, but I doubt it. But let's see.
Okay.
I think they have a great future, and our sport and our national team programs are going to be elite one day. I have no doubt about that.
Can I just follow up by saying I love Bruce Arena?
You can.
I did some interviews with him early in my. I'd have been in my 20s, and he's not going to remember this, but he would always tell me, that's a bad question. So here's how you need to phrase that question. Like, this guy was helpful. He knew I was a young kid, and he didn't shit on me. He just let me know when I asked a stupid question. And he's like, now I get it. But here, going forward, here's how you need to phrase that because, what you're saying there is accusatory. And what you need to make the question is more about the facts. And here, anyhow, great guy. We didn't become best friends or anything, but I did at least 2, maybe 3 interviews with Bruce that my young self absolutely remembers. Absolutely never forgot either. And they were phone interviews.
Now your old self has forgotten.
And he was so gentle and like calm. And he's like, okay.
I think Derek's in love.
Here's the friend. No, I always like Bruce. Anyhow, Spencer Doherty for $5.69, which is not the best position. Slightly related, is a UEFA license good for coaching gigs in the US? I mean, I don't know. Brett would know more than me.
No, I don't know shit, Jimmy. I would imagine, though, that a comparable license to whatever we offer here, like if you have to have an A license to manage the national team here, whatever the UEFA comparable that license would be sufficient, I would imagine, because otherwise you couldn't get any foreign coaches.
And just, be clear that this is ever changing. The licensing system is always being updated and changing so they can make more money. So just keep that in mind too. All right.
Hold on real quick. I'll come back to this in just a second. John, hold on. Here we go.
Go ahead.
You have Greg Turhalter says Arena's gentle. He says gentile, but he says gentle. John asked if you touch tips.
It was on the phone.
And Christopher Goodwin says definitely touch tips.
I would have kissed him. He was so nice to me. So that's all I remember. This is 20 plus years ago. So people.
Yep.
So hired the NCAA lacrosse winning coach. Listen, what Bruce was a fucking lacrosse coach. He became a soccer coach Became a damn good one. Look at his record everywhere except for 2018. Wherever he's gone, he's been a winner for the most part. And by the way, I can confirm that there were teams in Europe that wanted Bruce Arena. He stayed in MLS. He got paid more, probably, than going to Norway or Denmark, but he had offers. He had offers.
You get paid more, plus it's more stable for him. You pull a Bob Bradley and you go to Swansea, you're there for 3 months, you get shit canned.
Yeah. But he never had offers from England, but he did have offers in Europe proper. Norway, Denmark. There was one other country. Anyhow, basically that's it. Matthew Dominguez for $5. The problem with American soccer has always been the Ivy League boys club is what ruled forever. That's true. For a while it did. That's always held us back. Soccer is for the broke. And it is in every other country in the world. It is for the working class. Not the broke necessarily, but that's certainly true in other countries. Totally broke. But it's a working class sport / poor sport.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's
all you need is a makeshift ball and a couple of shoes. You can set up his goals. There you go.
No, you just roll up the dead cat that died on the road. You roll them up into a ball and you kick them around for a while. I don't know, but yeah, there's truth to that. Yes.
So I got one more thing I want to pull up here because we already covered. We went through all the videos. We're going through the videos and our topics.
I'm not doing Yanks Abroad.
So
I'm not doing it.
I wanted to. I'm not sharing anything. Hold on. That's why we can't see diddly shit.
By the way, I did not even bother watching Gio Reyna's 10 minutes in Dortmund this weekend. You know what I said? I said, fuck
honestly,
it.
Still surprised he's getting 10 minutes, man.
I said, fuck it. I'm not watching that shit. I don't care. At this point, I'm just done. If he got 30, I would have watched it. But 10? No, I'm not watching that. He's just going to kick it sideways. Yeah, not watching that. And from the reports I read, that's what he did. Very timid. Yeah.
Well, but still, we're looking at 3 more games, and then he's going to be away from gone from Dortmund. Again, why give him the 10 minutes, and why would he bother with really going out there busting his butt?
Because you're trying to sell yourself to the next team.
Trying not to get injured at this point.
That's why you're not worried about getting injured at this point. Doesn't really matter. You got to go out and prove that to whomever, whether it be Fiorentina or whomever, that you got a sack and you can play the game.
No, I understand your point. I'm just saying, I'm saying it as what I'm looking at Gio in this sense. Because again, he's looking 3 more games. I'm already out of here. I don't know.
For the people in the comments talking about Shedeur Sanders, I will just say this. He's a super quality player. Don't know about his character, but he's not Deion Sanders. Maybe that was the issue with Shedeur Sanders, is he thinks he is Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders never really had to work that hard at baseball or football when he played because he was super fucking better than everybody else. Shedeur Sanders is not super fucking better than everybody else. He's going to have to put in the time and the work. But if he does, he could be a hell of a player in the NFL. So just get that out of the way. And all the teams that passed on him for 4 rounds will feel like fucking idiots when he was supposed to be the number 1 pick in the draft. And he fell all the way to the 5th round or whatever it was, 4th round. Yeah, it was crazy watching it happen live on TV. But he's still a great player. He's still talented. He's a talented player. And hopefully this provides the chip on his shoulder for him to take a look in the mirror, number 1, because apparently all his interviews with NFL teams were poor. And number 2, make sure you focus on being a team player going forward. Think team before me. And he might be a hell of a player yet. Might be. I mean, we get a lot of other players who were worse than him. A lot more shit. Johnny Manziel. That guy was a fuck up. He still got drafted. Higher than fucking Shador Sanders. Johnny Manziel. That guy's a disaster. Yeah, anyhow. Sorry, Brett.
Yeah, I've only caught the aftermath of that. And I had no, I mean, I knew who he was by his last name, but I know nothing about him and his time. Was he played in Colorado for his dad?
Colorado, yep, for his dad, yep.
So no, I mean outside of following IU football, and even that's kind of spotty. It was nice to follow with the success we had this season.
I know.
But even then, it was sort of like I'll catch a game here and there type of thing. But I mean,
IU just signed a big NIL player for next season. So yeah, we'll see what happens there.
Kind of keep going on the up and up. Yeah, I caught the aftermath on it, and I'm just like, I'm not diving into this.
I did. I was so curious about it, so I had to. All right, that's my Shador Sanders opinion, and I'm no college football expert, but go ahead. Sorry.
So I brought the last thing I have got pulled up. I mean, as you can see, my tabs, I got other things to pull up, but we're not covering it because we've already covered it. But this is the last thing I wanted to cover, really. This comment by Cindy Parlow-Cone. She goes, I'm a huge fan of our men's national team. Throughout 5 years as president, I've gotten to know all the players, and I struggle with people saying that they don't care because I know they do. I know they're passionate. You have to use these games to help you prepare for the World Cup. Things don't just magically come together at a World Cup. You need to prepare to get there. And luckily, we still have a little bit over a year, so I have faith in Mauricio and his team will get us there.
Okay, well, she's gotten to know the players. Okay.
Sure.
And I struggle with people. She struggles with people saying they don't care. Okay, well, we came out on this show and said they do care, but the problem is it takes more than caring. All right? I care that my crop grows as a farmer because I need to feed my fucking family. I care, but did I get up every morning and bust my fucking nutsack to make sure that fucking crop bore fruit? Did I get up with a fucking chip on my shoulder like a goddamn fucking ninja every fucking morning and make sure that crop bore the fucking fruit it needed to make sure my family got through the winter? That's what we're talking about here. That's different than caring. Of course I care about Wilma and Barney, my son, my daughter, and my wife, Jonah. But if I don't get up and give my fucking all, we're not going to have a roof over our heads and we're not going to have anything to eat during the winter. Care all you want. Care all you want. Give me some fucking ball sack. Give me extracurricular chip. That's what I want. Extracurricular chip. I want to see a guy waking up motivated every morning at 5 a.m. out on the crops, making sure every bud is growing, that every leaf of lettuce is completely growing, and every tomato is the best tomato it can be. I don't want to, I did this last year. I'm really good at growing tomatoes. I'm pretty sure it's going to work out. I don't want to see that shit. I want to see somebody out there inspecting the fucking tomatoes every morning, the lettuce every morning, the carrots, the whole fucking garden. Because if it doesn't work out, you're starving during the winter. And as much as you fucking care about your family and caring that you hope you survive, you're living on last year's success. Couple years of success, or your success at the club that used to practice growing fucking garden vegetables at. This ain't practice anymore, and this ain't your club that used to fucking grow vegetables at. This shit counts now. You're growing vegetables in your own backyard, and this shit better fucking work out. It ain't about what you grew somewhere else for practice to get up to this point. This is about you succeeding and growing your own fucking vegetables in your own fucking backyard and giving it your all and giving it as much attention as you did when you were learning your trade somewhere else. Now's when you need to come back and grow those vegetables and attend to them every fucking morning, inspecting them. How are these tomatoes going? How are these carrots going? How's the lettuce going? All of it. The whole fucking garden needs to be inspected every fucking morning, diligently. You need to come out every morning. You wake up with a chip on your shoulder. This is goddamn whether my family lives through this winter or not. That's not what we're seeing. We're seeing, oh, I already grew those. Yeah, they're already planted. We're good. No, dude. Wake up early in the morning. Get on this shit. That's all I'm saying, Brett. It's my garden thing.
That was drug out, man. You kept going, and I could have swore you had a script. That you were just running with it, man. Jesus Christ, dude. I would have thrown you on solo layout so much earlier if I knew that was going to be that long of an epic rant. I was just like, after a little while, I was like, well, shit, but I better blow Derek up on this one.
No, I mean, that's from the heart, baby. You know, it really is. I hadn't even thought of the whole planting a garden thing yet until like 5 minutes ago when I started this rant. But somebody post that up somewhere, because honestly, that's what we're talking about here. It's what we're talking about here. I don't care what you grew somewhere else. Grow it here. Bring that shit here. Can't do it here. Doesn't matter.
I don't know. The only thing I really had an argument with this entire statement really was you have to use these games to help prepare for the World Cup. Things don't just magically come together out of World Cup. Well, they've had 6-7 fucking years.
Yeah.
To work this up. So
we got worse. We got worse.
The fact that she's like, I struggle with people saying they don't care. Well, the problem is that we've had 7 years for you to work out all these kinks and figure it out. And you guys should be able to enter a pitch and take on Panama and not look like a bunch of fucking bums.
And the cool thing about struggle, that word struggle, it means she's struggling because she's like, well, I can kind of see what you're saying, but at the same time, I feel like this. That's struggling, right?
Yeah.
If she just disagreed, she'd say, I think they're wrong. She's saying, I'm struggling. Oh, yeah, you're criticizing.
I'm trying to understand. Yeah.
Here's you. Here's me. Oh, I don't know. That's struggling. Well, don't struggle with it. Because it looks like even our captain of the team, our real honest captain of the team, Tyler Adams, says, yeah, it looked like we didn't care.
Yeah.
So you can struggle with it all you want, but it looked like we didn't care is good enough to say, maybe we didn't care enough. We cared in the same way you care about your family getting through the winter, but if you really care, you're not resting on your laurels and saying, well, I did it last year, so it's going to be great this year. No. It's not how this works.
It'd just be simple to say, hey, I've got to know these players. I know that they care. They're passionate. We're in a rut. We've got some time to work things through. We just got to, put our nose back to the grindstone.
She's just doing corporate talk. It's fine. It's not fine. It's just bullshit. But, it's bullshit. It's the usual bullshit. CAC for $10. CAC says, Reina was good in this match. Short for the 10 minutes that he played. Tough defense. Skill killing the clock. Part of the passing game. Okay, so he's brought in to kill the clock. 12 extra minutes added. That's a lot of minutes added. So maybe I should have watched it. Best game for him in a while. He was happy with the game. Coach likes him. Oh, the coach likes him. Okay, the coach probably does like him. But I know Dortmund have already told him to go look for another team. So if the coach likes him, too bad. The team already said, go look for another team. The admin have told him that. So, I mean, it could be untrue. But when I read...
And there should have been more than 5 minutes here. Bench, 10 minutes there.
Oh,
bench,
yeah.
bench.
They've hardly used him. Hardly.
Especially it's very possible that the coach might like him, just underutilized him or didn't use him or didn't.
He likes his penis, maybe.
Sure.
He likes his personality and his penis, but I mean,
minutes, Jesus.
But I don't think he likes him enough to start him. Recently, and that he also expressed it in other games where he came in that he wasn't doing quite enough. So I don't know. Jack says, I like penis. I like mine. So yeah, I like my penis a lot.
Then the coach really likes him then.
I don't know.
What you're trying to tell me?
All right. For the 231 of you here, make sure you like, subscribe, share it with your grandma. We're coming to the end, I think, here soon. I'm not going to do Yanks Abroad. Just not going to do it. It's going to take, because I've got it all the way from the early of the week because we skipped Thursday. I've got it from Thursday. I got it from midweek of last week. All I got to say, we'll cover it next show on Thursday and give you our overall grades for every player that we've covered in Europe, and we'll give him a grade for his performance this season based on play this season. No, not based on play. Of course, based on play. No, based on how many girls he fucked. No, obviously based on his play. Based obviously on his play for the season, not how many girls he slept with, or how many reach arounds he gave at public parks. That's not going to happen. All right, what do we got left? That it?
That was it.
All right, thank God. My liver hurts. My liver is actually in pain right now. Does that mean I drank too much? What do you think? Nope. Leave us. Yep. Can there be any transfers from MLS prospects to Europe in the summer, or no? I want more Yanks in Europe. Yeah, you're going to see some. But it might not be the ones you think. Like, I don't think that Luna's going to be let go.
In the summer, though.
In the summer, no.
He said in the summer, though.
No.
If there is anybody from MLS that's going to be moving, it's going to be somebody that's not being utilized so much by their club. Because, I mean, RSL's not going to want to offload Luna right now. Chicago's not going to offload Guti. Sullivan's playing at Philly, so I can't imagine Philly being ready to just offload him.
Depending on, I think he might be on the last leg of his contract, so he might get a deal. But we'd have to look that up. We're not doing that now. It'll depend on how many of these players are having a good season. Like, I would not even be shocked if Brian White ended up at some Scottish team, right? The third place Scottish team next season. But I don't know. We'll have to see.
He's with Philly through 2027.
Okay, so no. They'd sell him in 2026. That's when they'd sell him. So you always give yourself a year out, then you sell him. Unless somebody comes in with a massive deal for McGlynn or Sullivan, right? Who's going to Wrexham, though? I don't know. I don't think, and either of the owners or the management has been that keen on signing Americans. So I wouldn't expect that to happen, out of the blue.
Unless they're out of contract. I mean, if you're looking at placing a transfer on somebody, then I mean, I don't know if that's out of their price tag.
It is
overvalue their players.
Okay, here's the thing: between those two guys, they got $6 billion.
Okay, then what you mean to say is between Ryan Reynolds. He's got the market share of that.
Right. He's got 5. The other guy's got 1. Okay. So, and that's probably giving him more credit than he deserves.
Yeah.
You've got other teams in the championship who've got hundreds of billions of dollars. Owners. Hundreds. Like, a lot more money than they have. No, okay. I take it back. Ryan has his total intake for his movies has been $6 billion. So I take that back. The total amount of money he's ever made for his movies is $6 billion. He doesn't get all that $6 billion. Percentage of that goes to marketing. Percentage of that goes to the people that worked on the film. Percentage of that goes to the other producers. So he can't be anything but a multi-millionaire.
His net worth is $375 million.
Yes.
Google.
Right. So if he's at 375, the other guy's at like what? 100 mil? What are they going to be able to afford? Really? Let's be honest. When you're going against teams that are owned by billionaires in the championship.
Yeah.
Billionaires. P.
That's why I was making the comment earlier that they're going to have to rely on their chemistry they've developed over the course of the last 3 seasons. And then, like, pick up a player or two.
Chemistry's all great until you're totally out skilled.
That's fair.
And out athleted.
All they have to be is not the third worst team. Right?
Yeah, I think they can pull that off. I really do.
Yeah.
There are a lot of bad teams in the EFL. So it's possible. All right. Well, anyhow, that's going to do it. We'll be back on Thursday. We will cover, as we said, we'll go through each player's season, give them a grade on their season and abroad. And then we'll probably take on some MLS players and give you some grades for the guys that are really standing out. Not a whole lot, but enough to talk about. And pretty soon we'll be headed into, Brett, the friendly season. And, we'll see what happens there.
Yeah.
And the Gold Cup. But anyhow, thanks for all at 250 of you who were here. We do appreciate it. We'll be back on Monday. Until then, give your stepsister a big wet kiss. Kiss? I said kissed. Kissed?
In the past tense.
I mean, it sounded like it was a T. Kissed. K-I-S-T.
It's your German accent coming out.
I know. It really is. All right. We love you. We'll be back soon. Good night, my lovers.
That hurt.
I want to play in Europe. What the hell does that mean, right? Because Europe could be Latvia, Luxembourg.
No one's talking about Latvia or Luxembourg, dumbass.
So you want to just shove it in there. Start with the smaller finger, especially if this is the first time. Start with the smaller finger and go slow.
I mean, there's a lot of things that need to change.
Honey, eating it is the best thing that you can do for your man.
I want people to realize I'm just human. I'm just human, and I make mistakes.
So this guy, Derek, wants to know, is putting your tongue in an ass really the thing to do?
Yeah, it feels really good.
It's a weird one, I think.
And I know you want me to toss your salad too, don't you? All right, on that note.